Quintez Cephus is going to have to make a splash during training camp. Let's Talk Lions. Welcome back to an all-new episode here at Let's Talk Lions. My name's Jay. Thank you for hanging out. We are 50 human beings away from hitting 5,000 subscribers, which is mind-blowing. So we are right there. So 50 of you right now, you have the opportunity to take us higher. And I would sing that song, but it would be terrible. Today we got to talk about Quintez Cephas. His name is like a rumor, a shadow growing in the east. Cephas is really going to have to jockey for a spot on this wide receiver core with Detroit, which last year it was sort of a given. I mean, nothing is a given in the NFL, but his opportunity was much greater, much higher compared to this year on a wide receiver core that is being built out, that has a lot of talent, and Cephas is really going to have to work for a spot on that wide receiver core. Honestly, it's pretty unfortunate for him. The Lions drafted Cephas back in 2020. He was our 5th round pick, 166 overall. And Cephas had a lot of potential coming out of Wisconsin here in Detroit. However, in that first year, 2020, it's COVID season. The Lions still have Golladay, Marvin Jones Jr. We even still had Marvin Hall in that wide receiver core. And so he didn't see a ton of action. Last year was going to be big for Cephas. His sophomore year, I really thought we were going to see so much out of him. And quite frankly, we would have had it not been for the injury. You know, no longer did we have Golladay. No longer did we have Jones Jr. So there was so much more opportunity for Cephas. Well, Quintez Cephas only made it 5 games last year. He started 3 out of those 5. In those 5 games, he was 15 for 22. He put up a total of 204 yards, averaging about 13.6 yards per reception, and had a total of 2 TDs. So really what you saw was, hey, he was becoming a major target for Goff. Granted, the targets were limited because we weren't really a pass-heavy squad, specifically earlier in the season. Goff trying to find his way, a wide receiver core that was so young and inexperienced. However, he seemed to be a go-to guy for Goff as a wide receiver. Well, the problem is he gets injured, breaks the collarbone, shoulder injury. Between those two, he's done after game 5. So what was supposed to be a big year for Quintez Cephas turns out to be nothing but heartbreak for him. The opportunity for him to put his name on the map as a future wide receiver 3, probably wide receiver 2 even likely for the Detroit Lions, then gets shot down. And now it gets interesting because the Detroit Lions have put a lot of effort into building out their receiving core. And with that being said, Quintez Cephas is truly on the roster bubble to will he even make it on the team as a starting wide receiver. Now, this is why. You look at Detroit and we sign Josh Reynolds halfway through the season back last year. And we give him an extension going into this year. So Josh Reynolds is pretty much our wide receiver 1, I would say. Well, from there, we bring in DJ Chark during free agency. Here's a guy who can play on the outside with his speed and his size and can take the top off the defense. You're looking at wide receiver 2. From there, St. Brown emerges as a weapon for the Lions. You're going to look at St. Brown jockeying for that wide receiver 3-4 spot. We extend Kalif Raymond, bring him back on a 2-year deal. Kalif Raymond is absolutely versatile. He's incredibly fast. And that versatility we really see come into play where he's great on special teams. He is a special teams asset. And if you are lower on the wide receiver totem pole, if you're a wide receiver 4-5, you have to be able to play on special teams because then, hey, you're more likely to be used more often. Even if it's not as a wide receiver, hey, maybe that's where you excel on special teams. And we see that in Kalif Raymond. Well, now you bring in Jameson Williams. The Lions trade up. We bring in Jameson Williams from Alabama. And if he can get healthy halfway through the season, you're looking at your 5 receivers. Josh Reynolds, DJ Chark, St. Brown, Kalif Raymond, and Jameson Williams. So there's your 5. And this is where Cephas is now on the roster bubble. Because then from there you have Quintez Cephas, Tom Kennedy, and Trinity Benson. Yeah, there's a few more guys, but those are your next 3 men up. And really, as I said, Khalif Raymond and Tom Kennedy, great on special teams. They are special teams weapons, and so there's more versatility with them, and we don't quite see that in Quintez Cephas. He's 6'1", 208 pounds. He has not been used on special teams, whereas you see that in Raymond, you see that in Kennedy. And so what's going to happen with Cephas? That's the question. That collarbone injury really obliterated his opportunity last year, coming into this year, to establish himself as a part of this wide receiver core. It was as if Wile E. Coyote just jammed some dynamite into our wide receiver core with that injury. Freaking Roadrunner gets away again. Which, by the way, can I just say, I freaking hate the Roadrunner. Like, I just wanted, just once, Wile E. Coyote to friggin' win. Just win once, Looney Tunes. The poor guy spends his entire life trying to beat the Roadrunner, yet he's always blown himself up, getting hit by anvils. When does the little guy win? What I'm getting at is, had Cephas played an entire year based on those 5 games, I really think we would have seen him blossom and emerge within our top wide receiver core. And now, due to that injury, you're looking at a guy who's on roster bubble. So what he needs to do is absolutely ball out in training camp. Because if he does not, you're looking at a guy who could have been one of our top receivers and is no longer even on the active roster, not on the 53-man squad, which is just crazy that you hear it over and over again. The best ability is availability. And because he was not available, now you're looking at a guy who might get shoved off of the wide receiver core as a whole. As much as Cephas is on the roster bubble, I do believe that he makes the team and is a part of that core wide receiver group early in the season, simply because of Jameson Williams' injury. We're not going to see Williams until after the bye at some point. My guess is week 11, maybe week 10. Because of that injury, I do believe we see Cephas make the team on the active roster. However, his versatility and not being a special teams player could really hurt him. So what will we see during training camp? Will Brad Holmes, will Dan Campbell, will Ben Johnson try to find a way to work with Phipp, get him on the special teams roster as well, special teams unit? Or do we see Cephas slowly emerge, make his way up, or drop off as a whole? Drop thoughts in the comments. How do you guys feel about Quintez Cephas? Do you believe that he makes a comeback season, that he breaks out and he is established on this roster? Or do we see him slowly flitter into the night sky like all those fairies in Fern Gully, which I don't remember much about? I didn't like it as a kid, kind of wigged me out. Hey, thank you all for subscribing to the channel. We're 50 people away until we hit 5K. So let's do it. 50 of you. Take me higher. Once again, not going to sing it. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get one of those 5K stickers, slap it on my car. People will be like, oh, you run 5Ks? I'll say, basically, but online. That's funny. Maybe it's funny. I don't know. I've been in this room too long by myself.